Genevieve in the house.
Blessed be Genevieve in the house.
Blessed be everyone in the house.
Blessed be everyone in the house.
Blessed be the blessings of this house.
Blessed be the blessings of this house. I'll just keep doing this all night. I think I'm kidding.
Blessed be the labyrinth dance.
Blessed be the labyrinth dance.
Be the labyrinth dance.
Blessed be the labyrinth dance.
Be the dance in the labyrinth.
Blessed be the dance in the labyrinth.
Blessed be the hummingbirds that come and visit.
Be the hummingbirds that come and visit.
Blessed be the hummingbirds that come and visit.
Blessed be the hummingbirds that come and visit.
Blessed be the ruby-throated hummingbirds.
Blessed be the ruby-throated hummingbirds.
Blessed be the mealworm circle of life.
Be the mealworm circle of life.
Blessed 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 be the mealworm circle of life. Maybe we're pushing it. Blessed be the end of this song.
Blessed be the end of this song.
Blessed be the end of the song.
Blessed be the end of the song.
Blessed be the end of this song.
Blessed be the end of the song.
Earlier today, in midday prayer, we sang a song. I thought we'd sing it tonight. It's a song from the Hindu tradition in its text. And the words are Saha Swaranam Namaste. So we'll go over it. You would say after me, Sa,
Sa,
Ha,
ha,
Sra,
sra,
Nam,
nam,
Namaste.
namaste.
Saha Swaranam
Sahasranam.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Translated. 1,000 names we bow before you. We could learn something from India. else hear that rhythmic sound?
Like a drip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been hearing it. I can't find it.
You hear it though? Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not the only one that's hearing it.
Oh, I clocked it very clearly as the tears from Hummingbird.
Okay.
Could be.
Okay then. Today, in the morning session, we had some lovely poetry that was shared, and it just got me thinking about the various vital parts of any culture, and particularly any tradition that claims to have spirituality at its core. Poetry is a huge part of it, of course. So is song. So is dance. We don't do much dancing around here, do we? So maybe we should look at that. But the other part is story. Okay, story. Every culture has stories. And they're not incidental. They're not nice. They're necessary. Okay? If a people is to be a people, in any culture, stories are what brings them together, sends them out, keeps them on a certain path, if you will. So I thought tonight we would share two little stories. Sometimes in offering retreats, if this was a retreat group, I'd break you up into pairs and you would go off somewhere and tell each other a story. Right? But it could only be a 2-minute story. Just 2 minutes. And in that story, it would begin with something like this. Once upon a time, and then you would tell the story. Right? And usually it's something that you did, or said, or both, an experience you had, right? But you have 2 minutes to convey it to another person. It's amazing what happens in that 2 minutes. The air becomes alive with the kind of energy. People are listening, people are speaking something vitally important to them. Sometimes it's humorous, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's joyful. But whatever it is, it reveals something of yourself to another human being. And that's what's important. That's vital. So we won't do that tonight, but I'd like to share with you two little stories that are connected. And they come out of the Irish or Celtic tradition. They're just little stories. There are big stories, which we don't have time for tonight, but these are little stories that carry important meaning. So, are you ready? Two little stories. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a hunter who lived way up north in the woods, deep, far away from the village. For the hunter had trouble in the village. Whenever the hunter was in the village, he seemed to get into a brawl with somebody for some reason. So the hunter decided, I would do better living alone, up in the forest, in the woods, away from people. So that's what the hunter did. And the hunter had a life. Every day, the hunter would go out in the great circle in the wild and catch what he caught and killed what he killed and bring it back to the cabin and put it over the fire, have a nice hot meal, and go to bed. And that was the life of the hunter. One day, the hunter went out on the hunt in the great circle, but when he came back at the end of the day, something strange was happening. Because something strange is always happening. What was strange was that from the chimney in the cabin, he could see as he approached it, smoke was rising. Smoke from his chimney that he wasn't the cause of. So he crept slowly up to his cabin, slowly opened the door, peered inside, and what did he see? He saw a fire going in the fireplace, and a nice hot meal on the tabletop, prepared. Thought the hunter. This is wonderfully odd. I wonder who could have done that. So the hunter sat down, enjoyed the hot meal, warmed himself by the fire, and went to bed. Day 2. The hunter goes out on the hunt, catches what he catches and kills what he kills and brings it back. And once again, he sees the strange thing happening. Because something strange is always happening. Smoke from the chimney. As he approaches his cabin cautiously, ever so silently, up on the steps, nudges open the door, looks inside, and what does he see? The fire in the fireplace, and a nice hot meal on his tabletop. He says, 2 days in a row. I could get used to this. He goes to bed. Day 3. Now everybody knows that the third day in folk tales is when it happens. So, on day 3, the hunter goes out on the hunt, but this time he says to himself, I'm going to discover who or what is doing this. So he hid behind a bush and fixed his hunter eyes on the door of the cabin. It didn't take long, for out of the forest trotted a fox, a red fox, a beautiful red fox, trotted out of the forest onto his steps, nudged open the door and went inside. The hunter was gobsmacked. What is going on here? So he crept up to his porch, ever so silently, slowly opened the door, looked inside, and what did he see? He saw a woman standing by the fire, stirring embers, getting it going, and the ingredients for a hot meal nearby. He stood there for the longest time, not knowing what to say. She, aware of his presence, did not turn around. It was that awkwardness between two human beings that often happens. Nobody really knows what to say. Finally, she broke the silence, and this is what she said. I have come to be the woman in your life. He thought about it for 2 seconds and said, okay. And they sat down and enjoyed the meal and the fire, and she became the woman in his life. That was winter. Spring arrived, and things began to change. The hunter noticed something he hadn't noticed in winter. The smell of fox in his house. For this was the fox woman, her pelt hanging on the door peg by the door. The smell of the fox began to permeate the house. He put up with it for a while, but then, as summer emerged and the heat descended, he said one night in a loud voice, I can take it no more, the smell of fox. And she, quietly, without saying a word, stood up, went over to the door, took down her fox pelt over her shoulders, became fox again, and trotted off into the forest, leaving him alone once again. That's the end of that story. How does that story strike you? How does it make you feel?
unresolved, not satisfying in the way most stories with a clear moral or clear message feel.
That's very Irish. After a few Guinness, they tell stories like this. Intentionally unresolved.
Okay.
What is it that feels unresolved to you?
Well, it doesn't feel like the hunter. I think I was hoping, as an animal lover, that the hunter would like have some, epiphany or revelation about, I don't know, his impact in the animal world or what animals can give to him besides just food or meat or
Right.
something.
Apparently she was a good cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? One of the questions that is raised by this little story is this. For you, what is the smell of fox? Okay. The smell of fox is something the hunter could not tolerate. What is the smell of fox? It's a story that asks us to look at our own nature and ask ourselves, what is not yet integrated? What is not yet a part of us that wants to be? She offered herself to the hunter freely. And he accepted a new life for a while. But then he couldn't bear it. He couldn't cope. And that's the unresolved bit. The hunter is alone again. It didn't work. But why couldn't the hunter accept the difficult smell of fox? That's the question the story raises. What is the smell of fox for you? What is it about your own nature that you have troubles integrating? That's that little story. Story number 2. And by the way, if you say you don't have any trouble integrating something into your nature, then you're probably still sleeping. That's what it means to be awake. You're aware of it. All right, story number 2. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd. And the shepherd was up on a hilltop in a lush, green, grassy area, tending the sheep, having a lovely time. The sun was shining, and the shepherd was knitting a scarf for the winter. And everything was just fine. And then something happened, because something is always happening. Down below, on the grassy slope, there was a hare that stood up. Not a rabbit, mind you, but a hare. Have you all seen a hare before? Large ears, right? Standing up. Strong creature. And then another hare stood up, and they started to greet each other. And the shepherd was delighted and forgot about the practical knitting of the scarf, and the ball of thread rolled off the lap, down the hill, and disappeared into a rock wall. And the shepherd had never seen that opening before in the rock wall, kind of mountain-like thing. So the shepherd gathered up himself and walked down this grassy slope into and peered down through the opening in the rock wall on all fours and crawled through. He merged into this space, which was a kind of grotto, kind of hollowed out little mountain. Once inside, the shepherd could stand up, and he did. What he saw amazed him. For in that space there was a large table, and on the table were two items. One, a sword, the kind that Aragorn would wield in Lord of the Rings. And the other was a large horn, like Susan in the Chronicles of Narnia would blow to gather the forces. But next to the table was a bed, and on this bed lay an old king with white hair and white beard, sound asleep. He was, because this is a Celtic story, King Arthur. King Arthur was sound asleep. So the shepherd, without thinking, grabbed hold of the sword and crashed it down on the table. The king awoke, or kind of half awoke, and looked up at the shepherd and said this: "You chose the sword. Had you chosen the horn, I would have awakened and come back to restore the nobility of my people. But you didn't choose the horn. You chose the sword. So I will go back to sleep, and sleep for thousands and thousands and thousands of years." So he put his old head back on the pillow and went to sleep. The shepherd became frightened and began to back out of the hall, gathering up the thread, crawled through the opening in the rock wall and up the side of the grassy slope and stopped. The shepherd turned around and looked, but never again could he find the opening in the rock wall. And that's the end of that story. It's another happy ending, huh? What are these stories trying to tell us? Any thoughts?
Think before you act.
Think before you act. Think before you speak. Think before you act.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
That you can be missing something big.
Missing something big. Right. And something big, as you say, is seeking you. Whether it's the woman, the fox woman, or whether it's the sleeping king. You know, the sleeping king speaks. And had the shepherd chosen wisely the horn, the invitation was there. The hares that distracted the shepherd led the shepherd down through the opening. And just like here in this land, believe it or not, I know some of you do believe it, the animals around here lead us, speak to us in ways that are profound and it's something big. And if we're open to hearing it and seeing it, we won't miss it. But we need to be open to hear it and see it. You've all heard the deer story by now, right? Oh, good. Okay. Just checking. Anything else that these stories are trying to tell us? Because they are trying to tell us something.
Keep an open mind and an open heart, because when you know, with Oxwoman, he wasn't even home all day. He was out hunting. Why would he worry about the smell?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
He had this wonderful life with home-cooked meals and, you know, a nice woman.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I think we can learn to live with other people's idiosyncrasies. because everyone brings a gift.
Getting like, our decisions have consequences.
Decisions have consequences. What about that, Michael? Decisions.
Well, we have a choice.
Right. And in the stories, there's a choice given, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice. You can choose. The hunter could have chosen, right, to deal with that part of his nature that was having problems with the smell of fox, but he didn't, right? Maybe he wasn't aware of it. Maybe it's just out of habit. Maybe it's just mindless, you know. Oh, the smell of fox, bad, bang. You know. The same with the shepherd. Doesn't say why the shepherd crashed the sword down. Maybe he was in the habit of doing stuff like that, stupid shit. But he had a choice. He could have chosen the horn, but he didn't. You know? It just seems like one of the most beautiful aspects of being human is we are given choices. And God help us, you know, to choose wisely, choose well. It makes such a difference. Anything else about these stories?
It is nice though, because it does seem like everybody gets a choice, not just the people who are liable to make a good choice. Usually it's like the stories are people who, you know, you really want them to make a different choice, but they're still given a choice, even if they might not be likely to make a wise decision,
Right.
which can really help if you're feeling like you maybe run out of chances to make a wise choice. There'll always be more. Yeah.
Yeah. In some sense or other, in fact, no matter what the circumstance, I would say, and that's quite a thing to say. You know, I think about the tremendous suffering in the world today, particularly in Gaza right now. I mean, every day, dozens of women, children, men, elderly people are being killed. Do they have a choice? Do they have any choices? When you talk with them, I have a dear friend that lives in Palestine, in the West Bank, which is every day invaded, every day. He's one of the happiest people you ever want to meet. The young man, like 40. And it's not that he's naive. He knows what's happening. He knows he could die any day. And his family, his entire family could be wiped out. But somehow he has hope, and he chooses to live every day in love, his friends, his family. It's an amazing thing. I marvel at it. But even he has a choice. Yeah. Anything else about the stories?
My thoughts aren't fully formulated yet, but the Jeannie's writes a lot about spiders and spider webs, and this isn't the first time that this sort of feeling has come up to me that each node of a spider web's intersection is connected to many other nodes by its design. And these events, these choices, these interactions that we have are all interconnected to all the other nodes in some way or another, and leading us in different ways or pulling us from that node to the next. And that's what's come up for me.
Yeah.
The like interconnectedness of those choices and the events that we are pulled into. And
It's a
how-
beautiful reality, isn't it? The interconnectedness of our choices. We don't know what effect our choices will have, really. But we can be assured that they will have effects, most of which we'll never see. Because we're so deeply connected, whether we realize it or not. Yeah. close with a song, because we choose to close with a song. reflection is a daily practice. May we rise well and enjoy our life. All of it. May it be so.